Hi, everyone. My name is Ian Fisher. I'm with Unstoppable Prosperity on behalf of Charles Payne. If you're watching this, it's because you went to an Invest Like Charles webinar last week with us. Hopefully, you've seen the whole thing. If you don't, get with me and I'll make sure you have a link. But that was with Steve Sikowski. The reason I'm putting this together is to talk with you more about what we do and how we work. Steve does a really good job of explaining basically how Charles works, what he does. But when it comes to the services and explaining how those work for everybody, it's just different. Everybody's different. Everybody comes from different walks of life. How much knowledge you have in the market, how much money you're working with, how much time you can dedicate with that. So I just wanted to break those down for you, make it a lot easier for you to be able to understand how these work without being called so much or having to deal with your scheduling, not being able to talk with us. Everybody does have different time schedules, and I completely get that. So that's why I'm putting this together, just to show that I'm a real person. I'm not some pushy sales guy. Just to explain to you that, hey, we're all here to be able to grow our money. I'm here to feed my family just like everybody else. So I just wanted to introduce myself and explain to you how these things work. Okay, so if you guys know a little bit about Charles, you already know his background. I just want to give you background on the book, Unstoppable Prosperity. It's been around for a little over 2.5 years, came out 2019. We initially put out a DVD with it. It was titled How to Create a Recession-Resistant Portfolio. So if you know anything about the market, I know some of you don't, some of you are brand new. 2019 was a phenomenal year. I mean, it was one of the best years that we've seen in a long time. I mean, this year's pretty good too. I mean, you've got people that were throwing darts at the dartboard and they were doing all right. So that's how good we actually had it. But yet, here's Charles. He was talking about recession-resistant portfolios, what to do when that type of thing happens. Because the reality is, recessions and downturns, these are not if scenarios, these are when scenarios. These are going to happen. It's just a matter of when. Now, it's not like Charles had a crystal ball and could see what happened, about 10 months later after he put the DVD out. That was just how it works. But Charles does a really good job at protecting himself on the downturn. That's one of the biggest things. Downturns, recessions, you've got to have a plan. So a lot of people recently, I talked to them, hey, they're doing great. I mean, you should be in this type of a market, you should be doing well. That's not it. It's what do you do when things are not going well? What kind of exit strategy you have? What kind of protection plan do you have? These are the questions you got to ask yourself to see if you actually have something that can protect yourself when it happens. It will happen again. So Charles, he does well in the market because that's what he has. He has a way of doing that. That's the way his system is set up. And it's not like the guy has any crazy strategies or things he just pulled out of thin air and all of a sudden just made up that, some algorithm that nobody's ever heard of or anything like that. These are things that he's learned being an analyst in Wall Street as long as he has. He's learned from other people. And that's the great thing about it is, if Charles can learn it, well, so can you. Okay, everybody can learn how to do this. Okay, so what it comes down to, if you're the type of person that wants to learn how to be an analyst, you want to be somebody who can be a stock picker, well, we can teach you how to do it. Okay, if you don't want to, that's okay too. I mean, we can just explain to you how that works and you can just follow Charles. And that's really what this whole thing's all about. The reason that we put these webinars together, the reason I'm putting this video together is so you guys can understand that there is a way for you to be able to potentially do better in the market. Okay, we have a better strategy, have a better approach, protect yourself. That's what it is. Okay, so basically, the way that this works, and if you guys are familiar with Charles's strategy, what we do is we take everything that you're going to be putting into the market, everything that you're going to be at least dedicating towards a process like this, and we split it up 20 ways, 20 equally weighted ways, 5% of your portfolio. So for example, if you're going to start off with 20,000, which by the way, if you're going to be following Charles, his recommendations, that's what you really want to have. I mean, you can have less, don't get me wrong. People have done less, done 10,000. But just for example's sake, we're going to say 20,000. Okay, split that up 20 ways is 1,000 each. So every position, whether it is a stock position or a cash position, okay, we've got 11 sectors in the market. We have a 12th one for cash. Depending on what's going on in the market, what's going on in politics, the things that sway the market the way they do, that's going to depend on how we're going to be weighted in the market. Okay, so this is part of Charles's protection. Okay, just so you have a little bit of an idea of how that works. Not everybody has 20,000. Not everybody has $10,000. And that's perfectly fine too. But if you want to get to that point, well, and you have some money you want to put in the market, well, it's not going to hurt you to learn as well. Okay, Charles has a great education team set up to make sure that if you're wanting to learn, you've got the tools to do it. And you can do it in your own time too. This is not something that you have to be stuck to a schedule on. And I'm going to explain to you why as we go through this video here. Okay, so first of all, if you've watched the video, you watched the webinar last week, you saw that we had 3 different plans put together. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about the top one. Okay, that's the Platinum plan. And the reason I'm going to do that is because it has everything. If you want to break out certain parts, you can do the middle one. The middle one is just the education by itself. Okay, but the way that this is set up for 2 things. Okay, first of all, it's designed to teach you several things. If you're somebody who has never been in the market before and you want to learn how, it's going to teach you that. Okay, we will show you how to get accounts set up, how to get them funded, start teaching you the basics from vocabulary terms, understanding how to place the different types of trades, what those things mean. And then, of course, we're going to start teaching you how to be able to implement Charles's strategy into your portfolio. Okay, if you're somebody that already knows how to invest in the market, great. We can skip all that. We can just get right to teaching you how to implement Charles's methodology into your portfolio. Okay, so while you're doing that, well, instead of you having to go out to the market, try to apply a newly learned methodology, new way of investing in the market, and hoping that you get it right the first time, well, I mean, you can kind of feel like you're guessing. You can feel like you're just going through a trial and error process. That does happen, okay? You don't have to do that. Okay, what we can do is we can actually send you recommendations. Okay, we can send you recommendations of what to buy, recommendations of when to buy them, and also recommendations of when to sell them as well. So that way we can send you those. You can follow Charles's model portfolio. It's all weighted correctly. Okay, these are all great picks done by Charles and the team. So you can trust that, okay, with Charles and what he does. So while you're following that, we can teach you how do we come up with those things. Okay, how did we come up with those recommendations? Why are we weighted in certain sectors the way we're weighted? What are the indicators that are going to show us how to do those things? Okay, so basically this whole thing is set up for you to be able to learn as you're following. Okay, so you're not guessing. I kind of compare it to the old math books. I don't know if you guys had these things back in my day. When I was going through high school and college and everything, we'd get these math books. Okay, physical ones. I don't know if they have physical ones anymore. But in the back of it, we had the answers to those math problems. But we still had to show our work. We had to show how did we arrive to that. We can't just go in there and copy them. Okay, but what was great is we had a target. We had a place to go, and we knew we knew what we needed to get to. So if we made a mistake, you could backtrack, you can learn. So that's kind of how this thing works. It's basically you're learning as you're following, plus you have a target. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the service and help you understand exactly how it works and what you're going to be getting for that investment into Charles's team. And if it's something that you feel like would be beneficial for you, or you want to talk more about it, or you have questions, because you guys are all different. Every one of you are coming from different circumstances in life. I'd love to talk with you, which I am going to be giving you a call this week. If you see an 816 phone number, that's going to be me personally giving you a call, and I'm going to be talking with you, okay, answering questions. Okay, so basically, how this thing works, when somebody says, hey, I want to work with Charles, I want to get involved with a team, hey, what we're going to do is we start off with the registration process. Okay, registration, basically what that does is, yes, you have to pay the fee, okay? Yes, it's a good amount of money, we get that. But you know what else costs a lot of money? You not maximizing your potential in your investments and with your own money, right? So there's a warranty of service. We can talk about that as well. Charles is very confident what he does, and basically if you fall through with the system and you're not 100% satisfied, we're going to give you your money back. Okay, there's details in that. When I personally talk to you, I'm going to go over the details of those things. I can read that to you. So, but anyway, let's get to this. Basically, what happens is when somebody says, okay, let's get signed up, let's do this. What I'm going to do is take you through registration. Okay, registration, that consists of, like I said, you pay the fee, but we schedule what's called onboarding. So onboarding, this is where you get to meet the first of several people you're going to work with throughout this process. Okay, we have different people in different places of of the service to make sure that whatever questions you have, whatever you need as a client, that you're getting that help. Okay, so that first person, that is your student counselor. Okay, student counselor, they go through onboarding, they're going to get you online, they get you a username and a password to the website, they log you in, and they get you familiar with it. Okay, so you understand where everything's located. This is going to be your main online portal to access everything. So if you're the kind of person who's brand new, never touched anything, a stock in your life, well, let's get you through the basics. Let's help you understand how to get accounts set up, how to start getting them funded, how to place the different types of trades that you need to place for this thing to work, okay? Then we start to get you into the market, okay? So once you guys are ready, whether you're already ready or if you need to get prepared to start taking trades, your student counselor, they're going to show you where Charles's current recommendations are. Okay, so we have a big list of them. Charles has a bunch of recommendations, done research, done the analysis, taken them through the 3-pillar approach. They're all great stocks. Okay, now you're going to see a lot of them, but that doesn't mean you're going to take every one of them. You're not just going to take your money and drop it off all in the market all at once. Timing is very important, so we're going to make sure that we find the right ones. Okay, so your student counselor, they're going to show you how to identify which ones of Charles's current recommendations are at a spot for you to be able to get into right now. Okay, once you recognize that, well, you can go ahead and start acting on these recommendations. And you already know how much to put into each one, right? It's 5%. It's 1/20th of however much you're dedicating to it. So if it's 20,000, you already know that you're going to be putting $1,000 into each one of these recommendations. Or if it's 10,000, it's 500. Whatever makes sense. You scale up and down. Okay. So when you act on one of these recommendations, we're going to have you fill out what's called a position tracker. Okay. Position tracker. This tells us where you are because we're not touching your trade account. We don't get that's your money. We're not going to get into any of that. Okay. But we still need to know which ones of Charles's recommendations you're following so we can send you the recommendation of when to sell it. That's what this position tracker does. You just go in there and you just type in, I bought this stock at this price. Okay, but our system recognizes that. So what we do is when it's time to get rid of that stock, we will send you a recommendation of when to sell it. And then we can also send you a recommendation of what to move into next. Okay, so we do everything by email. We do have text alerts, so we can text you and say, hey, you've got a recommendation in your email and you better check that thing out. Okay, but we like the email format because this is going to give you an explanation of why we're doing what we're doing. Okay, so it's not just a ticker symbol, not to say, hey, buy this stock at this price. That's it. No, we're going to break it down for you. This is why we're doing what we're doing. So you're going to spend a few minutes, read through the email, understand why we're doing what we're doing, and at the bottom of the email is going to be a little box. Okay, that box is going to have your actual recommendation in it. It's going to say that we got this price, this is the target we're looking for. If you need stop losses, there's going to be little parameters there. And as long as the stock, when you get to it, as long as it's within those parameters, it's safe to act on. Okay, so this is not super time sensitive. So this is not something that, if you're driving down the road and you get a text about an alert, you don't have to slam on the brakes and hurry and pull over and hurry jump on that thing or anything like that. You've got a little bit of time. Okay, I would even say a day or so. What's important is those parameters. Okay, as long as the stock's around that price. Okay, so now that brings to another point. So it's possible that by the time you get to that recommendation and get to the stock market, regardless of how long it's been, it could jump. The market does funny things. Okay, so obviously, if the price of that stock is outside those parameters, well, you don't want to act on it. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to pick up the phone and you're going to call your second point of contact. Okay, this is what we call your personal representative with Charles. Okay, this is somebody that's assigned to you, your student counselor. When you're going through onboarding, they're going to assign this person to you. They're there for the entire year of the recommendation service. So the recommendations is a full year. That's what you're paying for, is a full year of that. And they're there to help you with anything regarding that. So just like the scenario we went through here, if the stock has jumped outside the parameters, pick up the phone, call your personal rep. If it's a stock that, I worked with people that they just don't want to get into certain stocks for personal reasons. I get that. That's perfectly fine. Okay, just call your rep, tell them the scenario, say, hey, this is what's going on. They have access to your position tracker, so they can actually pull it up. They can see where you're at, see where you're weighted, and they're going to be able to point you in the right direction to what to do next. Okay, so basically they're there to make sure that your 20 positions they're taken care of. You know you're doing those right. Okay, so basically that's how the recommendation service works. So it's a full year. We get you in there. We show you the initial recommendations. You fill in your position tracker. Just follow them as they come through. Your recommendations, email, text, and if you need any help, just make sure you're calling your personal representative. Okay, so that's how that works. And if you have any other questions about the recommendations, I'll be calling you. We can talk about those later. Okay, so now what else comes with this platinum membership is the education system. Okay, so now what I'm allowed to do. Okay, if you're watching this, okay, and obviously I'm assigned to your account on this, I'm actually able to give you an additional 3 months. So the original offer last week, that was only 3 months of Charles's education. But what I'm able to do is give you an additional 3 months. So if you've seen the emails, they'll say, hey, there's an extra $14.95 incentive. $1,495 is how much we normally charge for 3 months of the education. We're going to give you 6 full months of that. So while you're following the recommendations, the first 6 months of that, you actually have access to this course that you can do in your own time. Okay, so your student counselor, they'll get you set up for classes. We have 2 live classes on Wednesdays and Thursdays. And the live classes, these are 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, Wednesdays and Thursdays, 10:30 a.m. So these are live. These are curriculum based. So these are going to be teaching you Charles's methodology. Okay, so we know that that's in the middle of the day. A lot of you guys might be working full time, so don't worry about it if you don't make the live one. That's perfectly fine. Okay, we record them, we archive them in your online portal. You can get to these whenever you need to. Weekends, late night, it doesn't matter. Okay, you'll be able to get to them. Now, what's important is we have a third class. Oh, by the way, those classes are about an hour long, so kind of plan for that, regardless of when you're watching them. But we have a third class. This is our daily question and answer session. So Monday through Friday, we have a question and answer session. They are live. We schedule these at different times throughout the day. So mornings, afternoons, evenings, later evenings, just to make sure that those of you that are working and can't make those live classes, which is fine, you can at least have access to working with somebody live. Okay, so this is something where you log on, you got your trainers that are there, and you can talk to them about anything you want. So if you're going throughout the week and you're doing some research and you run into a roadblock, something like that, you'll be able to just jump on there and say, hey, this is what I'm running into. This is the issue I'm having right now. What they'll do right there in real time is they'll pull up the charts. They'll pull up you can see their screen. They'll actually do the research. They'll do the analysis. You can actually see what they're doing, and they'll explain to you why they're doing what they're doing as they're explaining it to you. So you're learning. Okay, so these are really awesome. So any other questions you have, that's what they're there for. Which we also record and archive these, so you can have access to all the ones, especially if you don't make them. I mean, you can make all 5 every week if you want. I don't think it's necessary. But when we archive these, since every day is different depending on what's going on with the market, what's going on with questions from students, whatever it is, well, there's going to be a focal point on those sessions. And we'll archive those based off of subject matter. So you can go on your online portal, you can go through all the other question and answers, you can see what the subject is, so you can jump on those. And more than likely, everybody has different perspectives. Those perspectives, they translate into different questions. So people might ask questions you may have never thought of that are really beneficial for you. So I encourage people to check those out, especially as you're going through the learning process and you're somebody who wants to be a stock picker. That's great. Now, of course, if you guys don't want to be stock pickers, that's okay. You can go through these at your leisure, go through any of them. You don't have to go to class, but at least you're learning. You can go in there and understand the basics of why you're doing what you're doing. That just helps you make better decisions in the market. Okay, so that's how that works. So then you have 6 full months of that with that platinum membership. We also throw in Payne's Perspective newsletter. It comes out every Monday. It just kind of gives you Charles Payne's perspective on the market for the current week. Okay. So now that's the platinum membership. The premium one, the one right below that, all that is that's 3 months of the education. There's no recommendations. It's just the education. So if you're just barely getting into the market and you don't have a lot of money, that's where I would suggest you go to. If you only got maybe $500 to $1,000 or something like that, and you want to make sure that you're maximizing your decision making in the market, that's where you want to go. Okay, so it's the same thing, same structure, everything's there. You get Payne's Perspective for a year with that as well. And then of course you have the essential. That's just Payne's Perspective. That's the newsletter for a year. So that's kind of a breakdown of those different services. Okay, so again, I know that it's hard to explain everything, how it's going to work for you guys individually, because you are all individuals that are different in where you're at right now. So I will be giving you a call. I'll be talking with you more about these. I want to talk to you about the warranty and how that works, because basically with that platinum membership, basically, if you go throughout this, you work at least 6 months, you play some trades, I'll talk about the details. If you do that and you're not happy, not 100% satisfied, we'll give you your money back. Okay, so this is something, it's an opportunity for you guys who are either trying to get into the market and don't know where to go, or if you're somebody who is looking for a better strategy, you feel like you could do better in the market, and a guy like Charles, who is on national TV for a reason, if you feel like that might help you and be beneficial for you, that's it. Okay, this is your opportunity to be able to do exactly what you're looking for. Okay, so I encourage you guys to give me a call if you can. Let me see here. I used to have a whiteboard. I guess I don't have it in here. But my number is, let me just give it to you. My number is 816. That's my area code, 816. So be looking for that, my direct line. So 816-494-1368. This is my personal line. Okay, you can text me on this even. Okay, if you want to text me, call me, let me know, okay? But look for that number on your caller IDs, 816-494-1368, and I'll be looking forward to talking with you, and hopefully we can figure out something that works for you guys and make sure that you're getting the most out of your investing and your money, okay? So, all right, guys, well, thanks for joining me. Hopefully you're able to watch this. I look forward to speaking with you sometime this week. All right, take care, guys.